Yes, Prabhu, go ahead.
So the temple bought a farm close to Arlington recently.
But that is for one individual.
It would make more sense to me to build. I see. It would make more sense to me to build a community around that farm, as opposed to these other sort of suggestions, right? Because they're like 20 miles away or 30 miles away.
No,
So
the suggestions are not 20 miles away. They are probably 5 to 7 miles away. They are all in the same general city called Arlington. So it's not like you're commuting a whole lot. But then you have to understand that you may not find something right around that property.
Understood. Yeah. Because it is available, but it's like 2.2 million, which is super expensive, of course.
Yeah. There is one for 2.2 million. There's one for 5.1 million right next to that farm.
Right.
See, that farm, one individual will live there because there's only permission for one home. Then you can have multiple barns, but then how many people are willing to live in cabins, leaving their luxurious home in King County, right? This is Snohomish County. This is 1 hour, 15 minutes away. Are you willing to just live in a cabin, right? Because there is one person who wants to live there, and they have put in the financial commitment required to live there, right? They are the majority shareholder in that particular farm, and therefore they will live there. And the others will have to go live in cabins or whatever the case might be, which many people may not prefer, because each one of them want their own, may not be very big, but own independent, some kind of quality living, right? So therefore we have to go to this other model, which is we have to find a different farm area close by. From scratch, think about a multifamily type approach.
Understood.
That was not intended to be multifamily. That was intended to be one family plus a dairy farm. We bought that because there was dairy farm on it.
Right. Yeah.
Having 30 cows over a 47-acre land. Every month they'll be on a 3-acre lot. Every month they'll be rotated to the second 3-acre lot. In this way they can have enough grass to eat and so on.
Understood.
So Srila Prabhupada has emphasized devotees can earn their living through cow protection, dairy and agriculture. At the same time, live a spiritual life in farm communities, depending on the mercy of Krishna and his supply agents, as described in this 3.1, Krishi Goraksha Vanijam, Vaishya Karma Svabhavajam. Most people in this world have either Vaishya propensities or Shudra propensities. Vaishya means more taking care of agriculture, cows, trading, or serving the other three varnas in the Shudra capacity. Very rarely you have Brahmanas, very rarely you have Kshatriyas who are willing to die on the battlefield kind of mentality. So the current world is mostly Vaishya and Shudra. So for if you want to be in that Vaishya Varna, then the idea is farming, cow protection, and business. You're already doing business. So you just add farming and cow protection and you fit into that mold.
No, I'll have one more question, and then I'm sure others have questions too. What I'm trying to imagine is, how does spiritual life on a farm get fostered in a approach that is incremental for families like us, along with a cooperative that might be either permanent people or incremental as well? How does that come together?
Go, right? I mean, people cannot switch from one to other in an hour or a day or even a month. So it will be incremental. Maybe the first 5 years you are shuttling back and forth, and gradually you like it so much that you start spending more and more time there. And then you realize that your expensive home is unnecessarily a burden. So you either rent it off or sell it off, and then you spend more and more time on the farm. For
Yeah.
example, for me, my first daughter, my only daughter, has graduated college. My son is going to the 12th grade. So in another 4 or 5 years, I'm pretty much free, right? Once they
Yeah.
graduate, do other things. And again, even for them, we are encouraging them to be in this agricultural um, area, like education in agriculture. Like if you see this, we are talking about agricultural supply chain uh, and food value
Oh, that's
chain,
helpful.
and then agricultural careers like animal science, horticulture, geneticist, environmental engineers, agricultural engineers, variety of people, right? So even in agriculture, you require all these skills like quality assurance,
Gotcha.
food safety, animal science, biotechnology, animal caretaker, veterinary technician, uh, like food technologist, flavor technologist, food stylist,
Got it.
refrigeration specialist. So don't think
Gotcha.
agriculture is just putting a seed and it comes out and all of a sudden magically your bag shows up in Costco. You need at least 2,000 people for that thing to grow, be harvested, be transported, be packed, be distributed. By the time it comes to your retail store, at least 2,000 people would have contributed to that before you can have that bag of rice for just $10, right? So many skills: geologist, geneticist, microbiologist. So what we are doing is we are encouraging our kids to take this up as a passion, right?
Right.
As opposed to just being um, as opposed to just being in IT and having no touch with how the world works, right? I mean, IT is very artificial, as you know. You're just talking about something and somebody's putting a bunch of code. All of a sudden, it is doing something magical. So it is in
Right.
touch with the reality of the world, right? So, for
Got
example,
it.
you need people in communications for agriculture. You need people in plant science, right? Horticulturist, entomologist, landscape designer, plant
Yeah.
breeder. I mean, we do plant breeding to the extent of having tulsi at our home. That's the extent of our, or
Right.
maybe a few tomato plants in our backyard. But then there's this whole thing, and these people, I mean, don't make as much as IT, but somewhere I saw this which says they make about 71,000 per year, like veterinary doctors who give vaccines to
Yeah.
cows. And recently one of our cow had a problem with its leg or something. The doctor came, gave some injections, and his bill was not cheap. It was like $500 or $600, right? So it's not like these people are begging or anything like that. Their professions also pay recently well.
Prabhuji, I have a question. Can you hear me?
Yeah, go ahead. Yes, go ahead, Anuj.
Yes, Prabhuji. So it's like, so when I was reading about like Srila Prabhupada's vision on this, like at certain places he mentioned that this is not for like business, in the sense like, so when we are discussing this, if let's say our thing is like we want to like go for the farm community, and then probably there will be excess of milk, so we'll go into the trade for crops or dairy and stuff. I'm just wondering, like, is it like, can it be possible that like it turns into another ugra karma, like okay, like uh, आसमान से गिरे खजूर पे अटके kind of thing, like okay, we're doing so much work in IT and now we are doing it in the farms, like similar amount of work.
No, 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 it is not Ugra Karma. Ugra Karma is defined as something which takes you from your natural propensity, right? This
Mm-hmm.
Ugra Karma only
Mm-hmm.
started in the last, what, 50 years. I have a slide for that also. Let me show you. If you really look at it, um,
Mm-hmm.
this Ugra Karma was started fairly recently. I have a slide and I'm trying to find it, um, which talks about, like, if you look at the 70s, civil
Mm-hmm.
engineers were in rage, right? Everybody wanted
Mm-hmm.
their daughter to be married to a civil engineer because it was a very prestigious position. Huh?
Mm-hmm.
Later, mechanical engineering was in rage. When I studied mechanical engineering,
Mm-hmm.
everybody wanted to be a mechanical engineer.
Mm-hmm.
So this thing keeps shifting back and forth. And then now computer scientists, right? This is the slide that I was talking about, right? 70s and
Mm-hmm.
civil engineers, because the world was constructing dams and highways. And then suddenly computing to automate some tasks came about. Maybe I need to have like a little step which talks about the whole mechanical automation, right?
Mm-hmm.
Mechanical automation and automobiles. So that happened from 1980s to roughly 2000. These were in range, right? So computing
Mm-hmm.
really did not start until 1990s. The internet itself came in what, 1994 or something like that. So
Mm-hmm.
these things keep shifting. And there's a level of automation that's going on, and that's dependent on the availability of your oil. And according to many economists, by 2030,
Mm-hmm.
will be a peak oil based civilization. And from there on, we will start shrinking because the oil production will come down, population will be too high. So today's standard of living is not possible beyond 2030. So at that point, you'll see, just like you see that in New York City, people don't have cars, right? Because too expensive to park, too expensive to maintain. So everybody takes a train, and then goes to work. So already, because of the heavy concentration of population, lifestyle changes will be required, and that will be required across the board, not just in New York City, right? So by 2030 plus, you will find with a high degree of likelihood that majority of the people will come back to farming, because farming was there from what? From beginning of time, like for the foreseeable past, till about 1970s, farming was the only thing. Even if you remember, my grandfather was a farmer. My father came to Hyderabad to do a industrial job, and then I came,
Mm-hmm.
and I also worked in mechanical engineering. And then because of this whole IT boom starting 1994, I kind of
Mm-hmm.
quickly changed gears and jumped into this new field called information
Mm-hmm.
technology. So, and this level of automation is continuing. How are you going to stop it? And then with the AI and ML, by 2030, many of your mundane tasks will be automated,
Mm-hmm.
right? My father had a
Mm-hmm.
stenographer working for him. He, he used to fly from Hyderabad to various parts of the country. And one guy from Hindustan Aeronautics Limited, main headquarters, would come on a motorbike and give him his flight tickets for the next morning, right?
Mm-hmm.
So he had somebody to clean his car, somebody to type. He used to dictate, and somebody used to type. Somebody is bringing a flight ticket for him.
Mm-hmm.
Now all three roles are gone. Yes or no?
Mm-hmm.
What do? I go to the corporate portal on Concur and book my own ticket. I type my
Mm-hmm.
own memos. I type my own email. There is no stenographer for me.
Mm-hmm.
So all those roles are,
Agreed, Prabhuji. So,
yeah.
so Prabhuji, like
Similarly,
one. Mm-hmm. Hmm.
similarly,
Good.
the roles that you are seeing today, they will go away too.
Mm-hmm. Agreed, Prabhuji. So, like, what my question is, like, so currently, so the amount of time that we spend in our jobs and the kind of stress level and all those things. So, it is not conducive to our sadhan bhajan. So,
Correct.
my understanding of like all of this, Srila Prabhupada suggesting this was like, you don't really need to work this hard.
Mhm.
Reduce your necessities to the bare minimum and spend most of your time in the sadhan and bhajan.
Correct.
So in fact, he used to say that when you go for farming, 3 months is what you should spend for like crop cultivation, and for rest of the year, like you should just like peacefully do your bhajan and sadhan. That's what my understanding was. So bottom line is, I understand that the whole purpose of doing this is we should uh, reduce our engagement in earning our livelihood and kind of those things, right?
Correct. Correct. And I'll tell
And
you
then
my
he
own
also mentioned
experience.
that. Mhm. Yes, Prabhuji.
I went to Harilas Maharaj's farm only 2 times in July. So
Mhm.
in 2 times, there are about 16 or 18 beds, flat beds, raised beds, in which they have broccoli, cauliflower, cilantro, various kinds of zucchini, and various kinds of greens. So somebody asked, why don't you go and put mulch so that the water doesn't evaporate? So I went for 2 days. First day, maybe 3.5 hours. Second day, 2.5 hours. So 6 hours, I was able to complete the mulching for all of them. And my job is done for this month, right? Because you don't put mulch every day. And then towards the end of July, somebody is going to come and harvest all the crop, right? So your point is right. 3 hours to 4 hours a day, except from harvesting when it will take, because you have to harvest in a very small window, right? If you leave it on the tree too long, it becomes too hard. And so you have to like quickly harvest. So yeah, you're right. I mean, you hardly spend 4 hours a day in the farming. It's not like you sit there with your camera and wait for a plant to grow. No, plant takes its own sweet time to grow. It'll be slowly grow, right? So you planting time, you spend a lot of effort, seeding time and planting time, and then harvesting time, you spend a lot of effort, and then in the middle, you may come for fertilizing once or twice, pesticides, organic pesticide once or twice, like that. Then you are kind of interleaving that with taking care of the cows and things like that. Cows are much more work than plants from that perspective, because cows, they fall sick, sometimes their udders are swollen, so cows are more complex. Yeah. So I see your point. Srila Prabhupada's point is that we should simplify our life, and this is going. But I know, but I'm trying to argue from a city dweller's perspective, right? Because city dweller will say, "Hey, I'm making 150K in Amazon or Microsoft. Why should I go and make only 50 or 60K on a farm? I'm cutting down my salary to a third, somewhere between a third and a. So why should I come to lower my thing?" But then you're not putting the same effort. Like I used to put in 12 hours a day at Microsoft when I used to work there. And that is expected basically, right? So you're not putting that much effort. You're putting less effort, you're getting less. But if you want to put more effort, then buy a bigger piece of land and a bigger tractor and do more work. So I see your point. Srila Prabhupada's point is to come to the farm so that you'll have more time for your sadhan bhajan. That is the real goal. But this is all just to justify that real goal. That's all I'm trying to say.
Okay. Yeah, maybe so. That's what probably like my at least like my so far like the expectation or the thing that like I am aligned with so far is like the self-sufficiency, basically the part that let's say tomorrow, if again for some reason stocks of Amazon and Fang, basically if they go down or something like that happens, so we should be unaffected. Food, shelter, clothing is the basic. So with this farm, if we can have the self-sufficiency of like, okay, yeah, we got milk, we got our crops, and we have our own like clothing and shelter and stuff, so we are not impacted because of whatever is happening in the world. So that is what like the idea that I am aligned with so far. And like when we bring in, because I saw your another slide wherein we were having this thing that the distribution group and then exporting in the trade. So that part is something that I want to understand a little bit more, that because I see there is a potential that that we might, our efforts may be a bit more than expected once we go start talking about trade and stuff.
Will be more in the distribution section, and for a cooperative, I know I had a slide there for that one as well, maybe early in the presentation. Yeah, you have to spend a good amount of effort, but then that's where all of your brains will come to use. If you really think about it, the central cooperative, like initially.
Yeah, this one, correct, this one.
First, let's establish the farms. That's a good problem to have, right? You have excess produce, and now you need to sell it to the central cooperative, and then you do canning, and then you do packaging, and then maybe you can have your own Ahimsa brand of products that you can sell in the market at a premium. Just like organic produce is selling for a premium, ours is organic plus, right? Organic plus means it will be not only organic, but it will be ahimsa, right?
Mm-hmm.
So it's a good problem to have, and that will come naturally. It will not happen immediately because initially you'll be struggling to produce something.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So which means like probably we come to the third step only when like we are self-sufficient ourselves, like internally, just like we don't export anything before our own consumption needs are
Exactly.
met. So
Exactly.
got it. Got it.
Yeah.
Okay.
So right now, Harivilas Maharaj's farm is at a tipping point. Previously, he was able to just take care of himself and a few devotees. And now the produce is at such
Mm-hmm.
a large volume. Now he has to figure out ways to um, distribute it more at scale. And that's why we are moving to this bigger
Mm-hmm.
farm. Because what happens is the interesting thing with cows is that the cows will keep on giving milk and they'll keep on giving babies. So what do you do with all that extra milk? So now we have to think about making pasteurizer and making cheese and then selling the cheese outside. So there's so many other things that come into the fore. Because Mother Earth is very kind, whether you like it or not, beyond the tipping point, you'll get more than you can consume. Then you have a good problem on your hands, right? Okay, Vivek, you raised your hand.
Maybe other way. So sorry. Yeah. Maybe Vivek Prabhu can go first if you wanted
Vivek,
to.
please go ahead.
Yeah, Ramesh Prabhu, thank you so much for the presentation. It's really nice. And personally, I was doing a lot of research last year, especially after pandemic, and I've been thinking a lot. I studied a little bit on the permaculture, which is kind of a technique to develop a self-sufficient farm.
Uh-huh.
And I at one point of time I was just almost bought a land in India near to my native place.
Uh-huh.
But obviously, it didn't materialize for some reasons. I was actually thinking to go back and then do the farming there in India.
Okay.
And when I heard about this, I was really excited. So couple of questions. One is that can I buy the agricultural land on a visa? I am still on the visa here.
Yeah, no problem. You're allowed to buy
That's
land. Yeah, you're allowed to buy land on a visa. Nobody's stopping you.
okay. The second question is why Arlington? And then related question is that what things we can grow here because of the climate. Is that Yakima area is much better area, or have you done some research on that?
Yakima area is a much better area, no doubt about it. But Yakima is much far distance wise also. This one you get on to Highway 5 from Seattle to Arlington is 1 hour 9 minutes flat, right? Because you're on 5, you're on 5. You can go much faster on this road. So if people as they transition, like um, Girish Prabhu was saying, for the transition, you can do up and down and stay there and work remotely for some time. And you can experiment with a lot of things without, Yakima is a little far away, no doubt about that.
Got it.
And here you can still grow a lot of things. Like you can, so let me ask that question. What can you grow, right? So the answer is you can grow broccoli. You can grow flowers in greenhouse, right? You can grow cauliflowers. If you like, before Arlington, there's a town called Marysville. And as you're heading to Canada, if you look to your left, there are hundreds of greenhouses, right? So we are not the first one to come to this state. We came only recently. People have been doing farming here for hundreds of years in the state of Washington. So there is
Right.
enough knowledge that is available that they can share with us, right? Again, a lot of the knowledge, if you go to University of Washington Extension Center, they will
Yes.
give you information, right?
Yes.
So I don't think the ability to grow is the challenge. The ability to distribute is a bigger challenge.
Yes.
Supply chain is a bigger challenge, like anything else,
There
right?
is something called barn to door, Prabhu. I just came across when I was researching.
Uh-huh.
The barn to door is basically connects the farms to the subscribers. Like that's the other like somebody asked the question, right? Like, I mean, you need money to live, right? So that's definitely is a requirement. But how do you do it in a ahimsa way? So there are some avenues that can basically, provide that necessarily money to live on. So barn to door is one of the options.
Yeah. Initially, you need some liquid cash because these crops, like for example, if you put in like an avocado plant, or you put in like a walnut tree, for example, they have a gestation period of 5 years before they'll give you a crop, right?
Right.
So you need initially certain, you need some money initially, right, to survive. And later on, you'll get more produce than you can even sell. You can even imagine, right? You'll get a lot more. Um, and then in the meantime, you can start growing crops like turmeric or broccoli or cauliflowers. Because here turmeric is a little difficult. It's mostly in California turmeric grows, but even here in a greenhouse, you can do a lot. So from the cow dung, methane gas, you can heat up the greenhouse just like Maharaj is doing on the Redmond Farm, right? So he
Got it.
doesn't have a huge methane facility, but he has enough to heat the greenhouse. And in the I saw in his greenhouse there are quite a few things that are growing. So just like anything else, like how did we learn Azure? How did we learn C Sharp? Same story. You have to devote the
I find it more difficult. The more I dig in, I found like it's a very complex field, and as you mentioned, like so many professions are involved. When I was doing like even the soil and the science that how do you grow, it's not easy, but yet, I mean, on the other hand, it's also easy. Just to put a seed in the ground and it grows. But there are other things that you need to know, like how do you manage the bugs and whatnot. um uh, yeah.
Yeah, how to manage the bugs is part of the whole story. You have to go on a slug patrol from time to time. Slugs will come and start eating your kale leaves. So you have to take a big
Right.
vessel with gloves and then pick up the slugs and put them in that big vessel and then put them far away in one corner of your farm, somewhere where you are not growing, because you are not growing more than 15-20% of your land. And no farmer grows 100% because they'll just be so tired trying to sell it. Growth will happen, but then where are you going to take this produce and sell it? America net
Right.
net has a surplus of corn and soybeans, so you should not get into that business. You should get in where they don't get in, right? Like mangoes, not that many mangoes are grown here. Avocados, not that many are grown here, like that. So you get into fields where they
Right.
don't get in, and you establish greenhouses. Initially, there is a capital outlay. Um, so yeah, there is capital outlay, no doubt about that, and you have to be prepared
Right.
for it, right? So that is
Yep.
why people hesitate a little bit to get into farming, because initial capital outlay is there, and they'll say, "Hey, I'll just put that money in stock market and it'll just grow without much effort. So why should I go and do it?" But if everybody does it, then who is going to grow the crops, right? So that's also the flip side of the same story. And the current
Absolutely.
trend is most people don't, although America has a lot of crops, they don't want to buy from out of state, right? They want to buy
Right.
locally, because for you are local, right? You are not all over America. So your
Right.
body will digest local food better than out of state food. Like a Florida orange is foreign to you. It is not,
Exactly.
yeah, it is not in line with this climate, right? The based
Yep.
on the oxygen, based on the temperature. You should not eat Florida oranges, technically speaking. You should grow your own oranges locally. Or
Yep.
don't eat oranges, eat pears, because pears grow very well in this climate. So because of eating these foreign foods, we get sick faster.
Yep.
So there are a lot of, I mean, once you start digging into it, like permaculture, I put together a 2-hour presentation on permaculture. It is there on my YouTube channel. You can look it up at your leisure. But
Oh, wow.
essentially,
I would definitely check it out. I've been reading a lot about it, and it's pretty fascinating. So there is a farm in India called Two Brothers Farm. recently, Prime Minister recognized them. They are in Pune. They sell their produce in like 150 plus countries today.
Yeah.
And there are two people, two brothers. They left their IT jobs and they started the permaculture farm. And their story has been amazing. So I've been following them, and as I said, like especially the question I was asking last year is that if my food supply stop coming to my door, how I'm gonna feed myself? I don't even know how to grow a tomato, right?
No, no,
Though
tomatoes are
my
very easy, by the
forefathers
way.
were
Tomatoes are
were.
the easiest things to grow, but
I
then,
know.
yeah,
I know. I was just making a comment, right? Like a lot of people don't even know that.
yeah.
Like how do you prune the tree in a, get a good crop and something like that, right? So there's a lot of things involved in it.
Yeah. You should come to our Redmond farm. They have what they did. They took the ground, they put a mound on top of it, and on the mound they put a plastic sheet and made some holes, and then they put tomato plants in the holes so that there is no water evaporation. The plastic sheets will prevent water evaporation. Okay, and
Yep.
then
Yep.
they got these very interesting trellises on the top made out of thin nylon wires. I've never seen those before.
Wow.
Like that is the current trend. And then the tomato plants are tied to those trellises so they grow vertically. Like otherwise they'll bush on the ground, right? So it will be difficult for you to harvest the tomatoes.
Yes.
So here it's almost like they're ready
Yep.
waiting for you. So you go there and you pluck the tomatoes as they are hanging vertically like that. Right, so this is the
Yep.
presentation that I gave. You can come to my channel, Radhika Gopinath Das. So faith, family, farming, 3 F's. Right, you have faith,
Awesome.
Krishna, take care of your family, and then do farming. And then Bill Mollison is the
Absolutely.
guy who started this whole permaculture, work with, not
Yes.
fight with natural patterns. So I have my lecture that I gave on
Yep.
permaculture. I posted it. I talk from a devotee perspective, not from the commercial perspective. There are other people who do seminars from a commercial perspective,
Right. Right.
right? So yeah, I mean, you can
G.
come and
G.
learn a few things. I've done quite a bit of these kind of things, presentations online. Um, yeah, I don't even know who Pay Mehta
Mhm.
is, but he made a comment here. So yeah, we can do, but there's a
Yeah.
lot of learning that we need to go
Exactly.
first,
Exactly.
educate our, like on YouTube you have channels where somebody put in the wheat seeds, they went through the whole cycle, they harvested the wheat seeds, they ground it within their home grinder, and they made the bread. So from seed to bread there are videos.
Oh wow. Yeah, that's great. That's great. No, I mean, especially that question I was asking last year, like if my food supply doesn't come, I have to grow my own food. So that's when I was asking, like, and when I saw this message on the group, I was like really excited because associating with other devotees like you is gonna be a blessing from Krishna, and I really want to be part of this. I don't know how much I can contribute because there are some situations I'm on a visa and whatnot, but I definitely want to be part of this.
Yeah, no, I understand. Yesterday somebody called me and said they wanted to be a part of it but they cannot invest much. But from my perspective, unless we have $1 million, buy like a 30-40 acre lot and make that first step, all of this will remain in theoretical stage.
And I am actually pretty ready to commit. So I mean, of course, I would need to know a little more details, but you can count me in, bro.
Yeah, so basically I'm looking for at least 5 people each willing to put in initially like 150 to 200,000 for the land, and later on maybe 300,000 each to build farmhouses on that one. So the capital outlay is going to be 500,000. And for the land, as I understand today, there are corporations, US government extensions, which are willing to give you loans, right? So these are called FSA loans, farm ownership loans with FSA. This is fsa.usda.gov. So they will give you loans based on your social security number and a credit check, and based on the property that we are going to put a down payment on. The challenge right now is people have way too much money, with Amazon stock being 3,500, Google being like 2,200 or 2,300. So by the time I see the land and do something, it's already sold. So we don't have the luxury of sitting and going to a bank and getting a loan. So we have to get pre-approval, show our pre-approval letters, and say, okay, we are willing to commit, and we sign the deal, and then go approve for the loan. And once the loan comes, we close on the property, right? So gone are the days when property stays on the market for a month. Like 2 days, 3 days, boom, they are gone.
I thought that there might be less competition in farms, but looks like it's not.
No, because just like you and I are talking about this topic, a lot of people, like, I know one person in Amazon. He has 4 millions liquid, not liquid, but $4 million worth of Amazon stock, right? Can you compete with that?
Wow.
So
Absolutely
any day
not.
he can just sell, and market is pretty hot right now. He can sell and just he has to just click a few buttons, right, on his brokerage firm, and next
Right.
morning he'll have 4 million in the bank, or maybe the day after, and he can out compete with you.
Yep, absolutely.
So that is the challenge, right? So I need committed people with pre-approval letters, so that we can put an offer, because I'm a real estate agent. I can write an offer, but there is a question there. Is it going to be a cash offer or a loan offer? Cash offers get preference, but for loan offer, we need to show the pre-approval letters, and within a month we have to apply for that loan and close on the property. So we have to be pretty serious. Whether, like, for example, one of you wants to buy all by yourself, right? Then you have to move forward very quickly. I can help you with the process, but you have to get the funding in order, whether it's the cash or loan. And other may say, okay, I want to be a part of the community. Community means we have to establish that legal documentation, um, where these are the 5 partners in that venture, and this is how it works. If somebody wants to leave the venture, what are the bylaws, and if somebody dies, what are the bylaws, where does the property go, what happens to their share. So we should write that agreement. I mean, again, I'll download some agreements from online and circulate in this group, but then we have to come to that stage fairly quickly. That 58-acre lot that I saw yesterday is already sold today, pending. Right? Somebody must have given cash, some rich Microsoft or Amazon guy. Right? So gone. It's gone forever. Not forever, maybe after 20 years. So otherwise, it will just remain a community. Yeah.
So Prabhuji, I think so. At least when I'm thinking from my perspective, few things might help here. One is so there are 2 ways to think about it. One is like when we invest in the farm as such, whatever money we keep aside, is it something that we are gonna invest as an investment for some near future, let's say 5 to 10 years? It's the money is there, but don't expect anything out of it. But at the same time, still keep paying your the mortgage on the existing home. Like you cannot even shift there. So if a little bit more details on.
No, that is something that we have to figure out, right? Nobody is going to tell us what to do with that. We are the core.
I'm saying that probably.
Yeah.
So what I'm saying is that in one option, let's say if it becomes more of an investment, that put the money there and then things will grow, and then most probably 5 to 10 years from now is when we can expect to shift there and like live full time and stuff. If that is the case, then I think I don't know about others, but it will be a bit difficult for me to arrange 600K as an investment upfront. However, if we start like something like, let's say, okay, we are looking for something, let's say 60 acres of land, and then this is the plan that okay, we have a cow shed which takes care of our milk needs. It will be operationalized by this time, and then so if I'm not sure whether it's possible to do this detailed level of planning upfront, but if we do that, at least for me, it will be like easier to think that okay, fine, this is the overall plan, and then maybe we can even go in phases that if I were to commit say 500 to 600K, then it's like maybe it will be better if I can go start living there. At least my mortgage thing is the mortgage that I'm paying right now, I can think that okay, now I'm paying it there. So that will be one thing that I don't know about the finance position of others, but that is something that will help.
Yeah, that's an
Like a
excellent
little
point.
bit.
That's an excellent point,
Mhm,
right? What happens to the
mhm,
investment? And we need to answer that question. The last time
mhm,
around in 2010, I tried to do a similar
mhm,
project with a plot in Highway 202, which is close to Redmond.
mhm,
Um, Back then, land was still available in Redmond area, right? And
mhm,
then one person wanted to go back to India. The other person,
mhm,
he said that his wife didn't like this whole idea. He dropped off. So this
mhm,
is not an easy endeavor. This is not for faint of the heart. This is a pretty brave
mhm,
endeavor that we are doing. But then, just like our forefathers, not our forefathers, but the founding fathers of America, they did it, right? They left everything in Europe. They came to America. They started building everything from scratch. So
mhm.
we have to do it. So yeah, that is good. What you just said is a pretty good point. Now we need to think in terms of what is each individual person's propensity to move forward, right? So
Mhm.
let me, I know I'm putting people on the spot, but I'm going to do this anyways. So name, time frame, dollar commitment, right? So we'll start with Manoj.
Mhm.
So what is your time frame for
Mhm.
moving?
So depends on the dollar commitment, Prabhuji.
Okay,
So
how
if
much
it's like
dollar?
if it's like more of an investment, so again, the both are interrelated in the sense like if it is more of an investment, if it's like 50k, 60k, then in that case I can commit 50k, 60k and be very flexible with the time frame. But if it's like we are talking about 500, 600k, then in that case the time frame is like time frame of I'm guessing time frame is more about uh, time frame is more about when I'm committing, like when I'm putting the dollars down, or when I'm planning to move to the farm full time.
No,
What
when
does the
you're
time frame mean with that?
no time frame is when we are putting the dollars down. Because first step is to get the property. Later on, we are thinking about
Mhm.
what we do with the property, right? So time frame to move is a later on thing.
So I think it will be relate like that's why I'm saying, Prabhuji. I think if we can fill the time frame to move there first, that will help deciding on the time frame as well as the dollar commitment both.
Okay, I am sold. See, you are competing with the builders and all these rich guys. So if you don't do it now,
Mhm.
house prices will go up. Like I bought some land in Dallas. Already,
Mhm.
land has appreciated substantially, right? If I had not done it during Corona,
Mhm.
now is already too late, right?
Mhm.
So if you don't
Mhm.
do it, you
Mhm.
are you are at a disadvantage. You have to do it. We have to do it quickly if we want to do it at all. That's my point, right? So time frame to
Mhm.
move is what? 6 months?
Prabhuji, I think yeah, so it's like how can I say this part? Because the thing is that we cannot move there until like it is a livable condition, right?
Uh,
So probably that is where I'm saying that a plan will be needed, like that.
yeah,
Okay, let's say
right.
we acquire the plot right now in whatever condition it is. Then how long will it take for us to start going and staying living there? Yeah.
No, so
So
basically,
that is part of the plan, time frame to move. So if you fill that up, mhm.
I think we
Go
can
ahead.
subdivide that, right? So one time frame is to basically collect the money, buy the land, and start farming. One time frame is to basically build the house and start living there. So in my situation, I think I will have to subdivide. So let's say commit 100k, right? Then my commitment is like, yes, I'm ready to go ahead and buy the land with the group, and whatever the area that we can put our greenhouses, start farming, have the cows, and 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 maybe the living time frame would be 2 to 3 years. That's where I can just start building the house and start living there. So does it make sense, Prabhu?
yeah, it makes sense. So time frame to buy and time frame to move. So time frame to buy is what? 3 months, 6 months? Because
Yeah,
if you say anything
maybe.
more than 3 months, you are pretty much, again, increasing the price.
Time frame to buy is, let's say, depending on, like, again, like, if let's say I have to gather 500, 600K, so definitely I have to be dependent on the loan a little bit. But if it is a cash thing, then let's say I'm ready to commit 100K, maybe next month, right? And then we can go and buy.
Okay. So 100,000, you can do it like less than 3 months,
Yes.
right? And then loan also takes only a month. I know that people have closed
Right.
homes in a month, right? So if you, um, with loan, also you can do it in 3 months. Actually, it's not a very big deal, right? So we'll say
Yeah.
less than 1 month for this, and with loan, 3 months. Yeah. So because ultimately everything revolves around our ability to pay the bank and all that. So we need to do this analysis and then figure out. So Anuj, time frame to buy. What is your time frame to buy?
I need to do this math, Prabhuji. Yeah, I can't commit anything for now.
Okay.
Yeah.
No, this is not a commitment. This is just like,
Yeah.
back of a napkin analysis on what is feasible and what's not feasible.
Mm-hmm.
So maybe
Yes,
two
Prabhuji. I
months.
think any number. I need some time, Prabhuji.
Okay, that's
Yeah,
fine.
not sure, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Yeah. Please give me some time. I'll
Yeah,
let
yeah,
you know
that's
for
fine.
sure. Yeah.
That's fine. But do you have a dollar commitment on how much you are able to invest?
Yes, Prabhuji. As I said, like I got caught a little bit off guard in the sense like I just started reading into it. My finances, like this was not in my plan, so I need to do math a little bit
Oh, okay.
before
Yeah, totally agree.
I can say anything. Yeah.
Totally agree. Yeah. So basically, it's not like one person will pay 200,
Mm-hmm.
other person will pay 100. It has to be an equitable thing,
Mm-hmm.
right? So equal membership, equal amount.
Mm-hmm.
Um,
Correct.
so I know this. I just said this meeting only 2 hours ago, but Girish and Disha have given any thought around if this were to happen, what the time frame that you have in mind?
Yeah. So time frame to move. Just going back to the thought process before about this being incremental, iterative, part-time kind of thing till we are able to actually move. Everything is predicated for us on our kids. So they're going to school over here, all of that. So time frame to move permanently, if that's the question, then we're thinking the next after 10 years. That would be the realistic time frame.
And time
In
frame
the
to buy?
meantime, it'd be part-time. Time frame to buy can be as soon as possible, and dollar commitment can be whatever the share is for whatever property we purchase.
Yeah, property will be around $1 million. If you have 5 partners, each person has to bring in at least 200K
250.
to the table.
That's fine.
And then later on, construction, we can defer it to each individual's style of living and whatever
Yes.
they want to construct on it. That's totally up to them, because there'll be some kind of subdivision or not, or there could be like one large multifamily home and everybody gets their
Yeah.
few buildings. So at least if we buy it, then the ball starts rolling, right? Otherwise, it's just a theoretical exercise.
Yeah. And if it's $1 million for a piece of land in Arlington, and it's 250, that's totally fine if it's 5 people.
Okay, so you're saying up to 250. Yeah, again, I'm not holding anybody to these things. I would not make
This
a
is all
commitment. I
somewhat
will say,
hypothetical as well, but totally get it.
plans. I would not a commitment at all, right?
Yeah.
Because I've seen this project not succeed once because people said one thing and then their family situation changed. So we should all be
Yes.
prepared for anything to happen, right?
Yes.
So yes, we are optimistic, but at the same
Yep,
time, we
agree.
are realistic. So Amit ji, what is your plan?
After this, Prabhu, I have one basic question, but
Yeah.
we'll
Go ahead. You ask your question.
No, let's go with Amit Prabhu first,
Okay,
and then
Amit
I'll
Prabhu,
pose a question.
Yeah, Hare Krishna, Prabhu.
boliye.
So, Prabhu, I haven't planned on on these things like when to move, because right now still debating in my thought process, like on finance, like how the finance will transit to really buy something other than the current mortgage, as I'm on visa as well. So that will depend on that. And second is the changing in the lifestyle, like how how much ready we are to change the gear, like in like 5 years or 2 years or 1 year. Still, that
So
is
that
I'm
is up to
debating.
you.
Like,
See, Girish was very realistic, 10 years. So you tell
yeah,
me,
I know.
yeah, you tell me what you are comfortable. Nobody can dictate that you move tomorrow. Come on, you have to
No,
go
it's a,
there. Nobody's
no, it's a
dictating
family
anything.
thing, right? Like it's not.
Yeah, yeah.
It's not like you individually you take the call. Like, okay, I will do everything in 5 years. Who knows? Your family is not ready for another 20 years. Who knows?
Yeah, I mean,
So
there is a
that's
philosophical angle to this, right? This is not a commercial angle. It's not like when you came
yes.
from India to America, this was like, yes, land of opportunity. I'll make good amount of money, have high standard of living, which you have compared to, maybe 10, 12 years ago. But now this is not a higher standard of living equation. This is more like philosophically, I like what Prabhupada is saying. Philosophically, I want to do something on the land. And also economically, the world is changing rapidly. So if we don't do it voluntarily, we might end up doing involuntarily.
Yeah, I know. I know. Yeah, that's the reason I'm very interested into it, learning and hearing all the questions, because philosophically I'm convinced. So practically, when you have to take a step, you have to figure out finance plus how the kids will grow, and because kids has their own on space, right? Like they are going to school, then no school, then so homeschooling, and those things will come into
Who
play.
said there is no school? There is Arlington High School there. It's not like there is no school there. You'll be surprised,
But
actually. You'll be surprised at how small town America functions. It's not a bad place. You are thinking that
no, I'm not saying, but
Seattle is
public
a great
school.
place. Yeah.
Yeah, means public school, like practically, like better to do homeschooling rather than the low-rated schools,
I will tell you, it
as
is
compared
always
to
better
some
to
issues.
do. No, I'll tell you, it's always better to do homeschooling, just like the Christians have figured out.
I
Because
know.
in public school,
Yeah.
my daughter was telling in Skyline, which is a top-rated school, teacher will come, he'll write a few things on the board, he will stand on the table, he'll take his guitar and play some music, and he'll say, "Here's your homework. You read these 70 pages and write a paper." Don't think they're teaching anything. Ultimately, they will give a huge homework, and you are doing the homework with your son or daughter.
Right. Right.
They're
Yeah.
not
So
teaching
maybe
anything.
yeah, time to move. I would say maybe 4 to 5 years. I would think fully move fully. Like I don't know how the partial thing will work. That I'm still
Again,
discussing, but I
you're not
don't know
going to
how the
Africa,
partial
sir.
thing works.
You're not going to Africa. You're only going 1 hour, 10 minutes away from Seattle. That's it.
And I don't think so. Ramesh Prabhu is going to hold me accountable if I don't move in next 3 years, right? So it's definitely a moving target.
Moving
But
target, and
yes,
this is your
I
money.
think
Yeah.
what probably is asking, what probably is asking is that if given this opportunity, is there a willingness to move? We move it or not move it, that's a separate thing, right? But like one thing, as I said, like I am very much interested in doing the farming. I move it there within next 2-3 years or maybe 5 years. I don't know that, but the realistic time frame, I think that if I have to make up my mind 100%, then 3 to 5 years probably I can see that is happening. If that doesn't happen, it doesn't happen, right?
Yeah. I mean, if it doesn't happen, think about it. Real estate is always appreciated. You can always sell your share to some other similar like-minded devotee. You cannot sell it to, some drunkard or some
Right.
drug maker like ganja maker or something like that. You will sell it to some decent person, and then that decent person will be the new member, right? It's like that. So that all those things will be in the bylaws, basically. Right? Okay. So, and what is your dollar commitment, Amit Prabhu?
I have to still work on it, Prabhuji.
Okay.
Like how much cash we can invest, but it's on the lower side for sure.
Okay. So right now, we only have like say 350 hypothetically. If Anuj and Amit bring in 100K each, 450, 550. So with 550, you cannot do much realistically, right? So
Yeah,
yeah,
with loan, Ramesh Prabhu, I think I can commit 200K.
Okay. Because think about it, at least you
And
can do something there. In Sammamish, you cannot do anything. Sammamish minimum home price is like $1.1 million, 4-bedroom home. So, we have to count our blessings when we do something this far away.
So Prabhuji, a quick question. So let's say we get 5 people, and then it's like, okay, we got the dollar amounts as well, and everything is good. So assume time frame to move for everyone is say 5 years at the at the least. So who is going to work there, and then who is going to do the farming, and who is going to take care of the cows, and like who is going to work there?
No, the cows, I would not encourage you to have cows right away. Cows are a lot of work.
Hmm.
I think first 3 years you would just like Arulas Maharaj, he never did cows to begin with. He grew some crops. First year, he spent in clearing the brush, getting oriented to the land,
Hmm.
getting the soil test done,
Hmm.
mitigating the
Hmm.
violations on the creek because the previous owner violated,
So
right?
so who is going to do this work if nobody is there on the land? We're gonna pay somebody.
No. One of us has to do it.
Mhm.
And the reason I'm telling you this, because if you pay
Mm.
someone, then A, it is philosophically wrong, and B, it's going to be prohibitively expensive. We have to do it on our own. So,
Yeah, exactly. That's why I'm correct. Hmm.
so
Yeah.
everybody will be
So
assigned
that's why
and we will,
time to frame to move. Yeah. Please go ahead.
so the members will continue to meet. That's the meaning of a cooperative, right? The members will continuously meet. They should have
Mm-hmm.
each other's abilities.
Mm-hmm.
What do I do whenever I have a question? I go
Mm-hmm.
to Bing and search it up. It's like, how did I get this information about a loan? Right? I did a search on Bing. They said, yeah, we
Mm-hmm.
have loan packages. You click it,
Mm-hmm.
you apply for a loan. That's it. I mean, you can research a lot and get it done. If you start paying others, then you cannot afford it, right? And uh, I'll tell you, I'll tell
No,
you,
yeah, I agree. So what I'm asking is like so. Go ahead. Hmm.
if once people have the property, right, they cannot resist doing something.
Mm-hmm.
Initially, people will say, I won't do
So
anything.
that's what like I think we should put it there that at least. So that's the reason I'm saying that probably we need a little bit more finer detailed details that like okay, so dollar amount is one thing, but how much time commitment is needed, and then how will this materialize, and how many years will it materialize? Like having a piece of land is okay, good. That's the first thing. So, but then what else is needed to get there in 5 to 10 years or whatever time frame, right? So,
Yeah.
for example, that's why I'm saying that like let's say if I'm fully committed to this, and then I say that okay, I'll put all my eggs in the same bucket, like let me commit to a dollar amount, and then okay, time frame to buy also I reduce, and then I time frame to move is immediate, but then I don't think so it's gonna work, right?
Uh, well, if you put in some dollar amount and you move in a year, you will have the entire property for yourself till the other people come and join. So you will have the benefit of a bigger lot without putting in the bigger amount of money. And once they slowly start coming, there'll be more expanded activities with more sharing of activities and sharing of the benefits, right? So that is what a cooperative is. When whoever comes in first has more say in how things span out, and whoever comes in later will also have a say. But now, by which time there'll be different directions that the project will move in. So again, I cannot forecast the future how it will look like in 10 years, but we have to start somewhere, right? So
Hmm. That's
cooperatives,
what it looks like. It's more of an investment as of now,
in a way, it is more
right?
of an investment as of now because real estate
This
prices
this
are
thing.
increasing. So I
Mm-hmm.
don't think you will lose your money. Nobody has ever lost
Mm-hmm.
money in real estate. You may not make huge profit, but I don't
Mm-hmm.
think you lose your money. And then
I
don't.
think at this point of time, when I'm looking at it, I'm just looking purely based on the investment. Like, let's say I can shell out 200K or 100K out of my pocket, whether it's on the loan or my personal funds, and I just buy the land, and I assume that nothing is gonna happen for the next 5 years. I think that's the mindset
Don't count on.
that I will come at it. And I will look at that way. So
So a question.
I mean, I don't know.
A question on Vivek Prabhu, a question stocks and then actually materialize it when it's really about.
Do that is that first start is to basically live on a farm and grow my own food and live among the devotees and have cows and whatnot. So that's my long-term plan. And I'm willing to make that investment to reach there at some point of time, right? So obviously, if you look at from the ROI perspective, immediately putting that money in the stock market and earning money out of that, I don't think so. That's going to happen immediately, right? But at the same time, as Ramesh Prabhu said, land is going to appreciate as well. So let's say if you put 200K now, maybe in next 3 years, that will automatically become 250, right? So you're not losing money on the investment. It's just that you are not getting an instant gratification like you buy the stock and sell it next day and earn some money,
Agreed. So
right?
The whole idea is this is not a
what
sport.
I'm trying to say here is like unless. So what I'm trying to understand is that if, as Vivek Prabhu said in the beginning, right? Let's say if we put this amount and it's purely for investment purpose, if I have a mindset like, okay, let me put the amount there and then forget about it for 5 to 10 years. Let's say if I do that, if everybody forgets about it for 5 to 10 years, then that piece of land is just lying there, right? After 5 to 10 years, it will still be as is. So unless we have a plan to operationalize, what is the point of just buying the land? I think it will be cheaper to buy that land with the stocks giving more ROI in 10 years of time. It will be easier on us to buy that land because stocks ROI on the average is more than the land appreciation, right? So that's the reason I'm saying that this has to happen with the plan to operationalize. Otherwise, to me, like just for an investment purpose and the land lying there for 5 to 10 years doesn't make sense at all.
I totally agree with you. I totally agree. We need to have
Point
a
that I'm trying
plan.
to make.
This is not just for investment. And also, don't forget, you have the support of the devotees, right? There will be a farm where one family will stay and 30, 35 cows will stay. There is hay being harvested. They plan to start a school and a temple. Harulas Maharaj was saying that we should start a school and a temple. So there'll be a little bit of buzz around it, just like we have the Redmond property buzz. There'll be a little bit of buzz. There'll be festivals going on. There'll be like a mini Ananda Mela going on there on the farm. People will be commuting back and forth. There'll be volunteers, and when volunteers need work, and you say, "Hey, there is a farm neighboring here. Can you come and help us with X, Y, and Z?" I mean, there are certain things volunteers can do, like planting and all those. There are certain things contractors need to do, like grading and maybe digging a trench with a tractor or backhoe or whatever the case might be. So there's a certain things where the group has to spend the money in terms of cutting trees and things like that. There will be a certain thing where the volunteers can come in. But don't forget that angle. This is not just your farm. It will be a cooperative farm where you are expected to work, cooperate with other devotees who come and do certain things for you.
Correct. Exactly. So that's the reason that like plan to operationalize is like I don't know whether it's needed right now or maybe it is because I don't know. Like for me, I think plan to operationalize like what are the I also agree that it is like too soon probably. I don't know, but
No, I think
that's
you're
where it
right.
stands.
I
And
mean,
because for me, like if it is
you're right. I also have the same question, definitely. But what I was saying is that, and the one more question that I wanted to ask from Ramesh Prabhu is like, so let's say we buy, let's say 30, 40 acre land or whatever, right? And and as you said that there will be some kind of, you will draw some lines, right? Like, hey, this piece of 5 acres or 10 acres goes to Vivek, this piece goes to Anuj, this piece goes to Grish and Amit, right? So definitely, you own certain piece of land there, and let's say Ramesh Prabhu decides to, talk and figure out like, hey, we found out this greenhouse company They can put up like this many square feet. This is the price we agreed on. And if you want to put the greenhouse on your lot, this is what it is, right? And then you say, go ahead. And then you build the greenhouses and you can start planting your crops there. Like, let's say your vision is to basically plant some avocado trees, just for an example. So you buy those avocado trees, you start planting there, right? So that's how I will start in my understanding. I don't know. I'm just thinking because I've been on that topic thinking about that how I'm gonna develop my land in India if I wanted to buy. So I had like 2-3 years of planning. Like first of all, you buy the land, you make the soil organic. You start planting your trees, nurture them, and by the time 2-3 years that the land will start to produce something, right? And that's when you can decide that you want to start building your house or not. And then again, like there will be some synergy there because Ramesh Prabhu is doing lots of the research. I might not be doing that many research, but I can take cues from him, and then he can say, "Hey, I found this contractor. Why don't we just talk to him if you want to buy?" So I think I'm looking from that perspective. Otherwise, I can just go and buy my land, right? Whatever money I have, and then do whatever I want. But the reason I want to attach to this community is that there is going to be some support, and that's what I'm looking forward to.
Exactly. Yeah, so that's what, like, if we immediately go start living there on our plot, and then if nobody is coming there in 5 to 10 years, then it's as good as like just living separately, buying our own land. So I think, yeah, that's the most important part of it, that as a community, what is the plan to operationalize, what are the different milestones, what are the commitments needed from all the cooperative members. I think um, those kind of things probably will help me, definitely help me, because as I said, like, I don't have money for investment. I'm like all in for it, or like uh, not in for it.
Okay, that's an excellent point.
That's my personal
The answers,
situation. So
right?
yeah.
I don't have all the answers. So the answers have to come from this core committee on what those milestones are. I just wrote things. Like you have to clear the land, you have to obtain permit. Even for a greenhouse, you need a permit. To buy a house, build a house, you need a permit. To dig a well, you need a permit. So all kinds of permits are needed, right? So whether it's a greenhouse, farm, well, or a methane processing unit, right? So and then it begs the question, right? If people have different timelines, then should we do it all as one unit or maybe two people partner, right? Instead of having, can you go on mute, please? Yeah. So maybe two people partner in each um, investment, because $1 million for one person may be very huge. So maybe two families, like I'm just making this up, maybe Vivek and Girish, or Anuj and Girish, and Vivek and Amit come together in twosies, like two people coming in and buying one property, because there are properties, I know they are selling very fast, but you can have something for 900K, something for 700K. Two people buy it. That way it makes it very simple to manage. Or would there be a benefit in doing a community type, which is like 5+ people? Because again, I'm not saying that it'll stop at 5. There may be other people who want to come and join you, and they may buy a share by putting in an additional 100 or 200K that can be used for a new building or a new greenhouse. And then you are basically, so that's what a cooperative is, right? So there are cooperative share units, and the share price is decided by the committee, and other persons may come in and buy that share. For people who come later, obviously their share value will be higher, things like that. So I'm just thinking out loud, if the time frame to move is different for different people, would it make sense to not have a large community but have like two families on each, something like that? So what are your thoughts on that one?
So I want to add one thing here, Ramesh Prabhu, that is coming to my mind, and I think probably more clarity on that would be helpful. So, for example, let's say we buy, uh, 25-acre lot, and everybody has 5 acre in their budget, right? In their share. Now, first of all, like some of the 5 acre might be the front facing, the facing to the road, and some might be inside and whatnot. And obviously the price will vary. Now the question is, are we gonna purposefully divide that? Hey, this is gonna be your 5 acre, and I think I will be interested in doing that. Is that, hey, when we, because I cannot buy this much big land, and maybe I can buy the 5 acre lot, but maybe I'm gonna miss that community feeling that I have, because I want my next neighbor to be a devotee, and collaborate with them on my farm and their farm, right? But still, I would like to have some kind of, the ownership that, hey, this piece of 5 acre land is yours and this is the boundary, right? It may be a virtual boundary, it may be a hard boundary, I don't know. But at least, there should be a clear marking that, hey, this is your lot, right? And then second is that, how are we going to decide, like, the front facing is going to be more expensive, plus the lot which is going in the back is going to be less expensive, something like that, right? So I
Yeah,
think
but I
I
don't
would
think
like to have that clarity on that.
yeah, I don't think we should be thinking along those lines, because it's not like you are
Okay.
buying 5 acres out of a 25-acre lot and then that will be legally on your name. No, it's a cooperative, remember? So
I
you
see.
have a share. If you put in more money, you may get 10 acres. But which 10
Mhm.
acres, we won't tell you that. It's ultimately, the whole thing is in the name of the trust. And you have 5 members with individual social security numbers and individual
Mhm.
across those social security numbers. Otherwise, that's where I was leaning towards, like the two people, right? Two people coming together and doing it. It'll be a challenge
Mm.
if you think along those lines that my property should be facing, the best lot. Then there'll be, some kind of fighting that will happen between the partners, right? For example, this is my land in Dallas area. I bought this land. So I could divide, this is like 84 acres that I bought. I could divide it in 10-acre lots and give each one to one devotee. This is the main road, right? Or I could divide it into more 4-acre lots, like 24-acre lots. And then what will happen to this last guy, because he's in a flood?
Mhm.
He has only a little bit of land. So the thinking is not that this is my land. That's where this whole cooperative devotee type living comes into picture. I put in X and I own this many shares of this property X. That's it. Now you don't have an individual land. You will have a share of that. And if the greenhouse comes, doesn't matter whether it's in Vivek's property or Girish's property or Anuja's property. Each one of them is cultivating a section and they are in competition with each other. Hey, I'm doing better in my crop. I'm growing more than you. Can you better my yield? And then the other person says, okay, let me try harder and get better yield on this section. So the competition is there along those lines, not around, hey, my land is better than your land. No, the land belongs to the cooperative. That should be the spirit. Otherwise, then you'll get into unhealthy competition, and there may be, conflicts later down the road.
I mean, I agree, but there is no competition, right? Like, it's just an assessment of the land, and that's the acre plot, and I think that's a solvable problem. Like, if you divide that land, I don't know. I'm just
No,
just
it is
I
solvable.
was having
I'll tell
I
you.
was having that assumption.
Right. It is solvable in certain cases, but in most cases, it's not. Most of these lands are not exact rectangles. Some of them are trapezium,
I
some of
see.
them are like pentagon. So what are you going to do about it, right? So it is very difficult if you if it's a perfect rectangle, we can divide it into 4 or 5 lots
Right.
and
Right.
get it over with. But no, none of these lots are perfect rectangles. And some of them are like overseeing a hill, right?
Hmm.
So do you want on the hill slope? Some people prefer it, some people hate it, right? So like look at this property, for example. There's a barn. There's a beautiful house, modern house with modern roofing. Barn is just like metal roofing. No, there is a greenhouse. You see this? Now, how are you going to divide it across 5 people?
Mhm.
Very challenging, right? So you say, yes, if you want to stay in this house, you pay the rent to the cooperative, $2,000 a month. I will build a little cabin here and I will only pay $300 a month because it's just a smaller square footage for the cabin. If nobody wants this central house, the committee sits together and decides what to do with that central house. If everybody wants it, you see, this is not a perfect rectangle. It's like you see this section like this, you see this house. So you can do agriculture here, you can do agriculture on the back, and some like these people are only doing in this small patch, as you can see. It's just one family, right?
I see.
So it is a challenge. I mean,
No, I think my assumption was, Prabhu, was that the other the model I was describing. That's what I assumed. So this one is a little bit different as per my expectation. So I will have to like think about it the way that you're proposing because
or
obviously I was yeah. Go ahead.
or you could go and buy this if you have 700K, or if you are getting the loan for 700K, you could just go and buy this all by yourself. It's just that you're all in Arlington. You still have, on the common farm, 35 cows that you can go and serve, and you can commute back and forth and still be a part of the community. Um, Not next door neighbor per se, but it will be, a little bit.
Around the vicinity.
Yeah, it will be in the
Yeah.
vicinity. So that's why I'm saying
Okay.
none of this is like so easy. This is not like a picture perfect world. You have to.
Right.
I was thinking like on my 84-acre farm, I'll construct something like this. You see this? So I'll have a temple room, dining room, kitchen. I'll have 9 quarters where 9 couples can stay at a very low rent, maybe $400 a month. They'll be on septic. They'll all go to the same temple. There'll be a central courtyard. They can sit under the patio and discuss. That way, they are not into the competition of, oh, I'll have a bigger house. No, everybody gets similar rooms. They go to Mangalarti, they cook together. The expenses are divided across the community. This follows Vastu, for example, temple meditation room, granary and count shed, right? Vastu is very important. So this is Vastu compliant. So this is option 3. Remember, I put option 1, 2, and 3. 3 is complete community living, no privacy whatsoever. I mean, privacy in your room, or there's privacy on the 84 acres. You can walk pretty long distance and chant, but there's no privacy once you enter this compound, right? So it's like you are serving the deities and you are walking distance from the deities. Literally, anybody can reach the temple room in 2 minutes. 1 minute, literally.
Makes sense.
Right? So this is one model. This is option 3. Option 1 is Vivek buys this, and within 3 miles, Amit buys something. Within 3 miles, Disha and Girish buy something. That's also an option. I'm not denying that option at all. But the middle of the ground is somewhere between this individual living and somewhere between that and this, where everybody is like, you open the door and you see your neighbor, just like in India style temple. Around the temple, have you seen that? There'll be many people living around the temple. So the members decide, right? You're not saying that this is the only way to do it. If Vivek wants, Vivek can afford this, by all means, I will write a contract for you tomorrow, and within a month, this. That is the easiest. Very, very easy, because you are taking full risk for this time. And you can probably sell your
Right.
home, move there. There is Wi-Fi connection. You can continue to work, and it's only 1 hour 15 minutes from Seattle. All power to you.
Right. Right.
So Prabhuji, like with this discussion, like if we come back to the cooperative, like the benefits of co-op, like one is like, as you mentioned, that it makes the buying thing cheaper, but the con of it that, the lose. So I think co-op works better. Like now that I'm thinking after Vivek Prabhu's question, that it might work better for, as an investment, if you are having something and then, you are not you're not the person living there, you're taking decision for the renters. I think it will be easier one. But if we ourselves are living there, and then obviously everyone is investing their dollar amount, so there will be preferences, right? It's very hard to just ignore that part. So that I think seems to be a big con of this cooperative thing. And also I was thinking that let's say when we are fully operational, like the other benefits of, so how do we help each other, given that like if we have say crops and then dairy and stuff, so what is that part wherein okay, devotees are, all of us are doing it together? Because still we kind of, I think everyone has this expectation that I have a piece of land wherein I want to do a certain thing of my own interest. So
Yeah, that is
so
where
like,
when I started the presentation, I started with
mhm,
that caveat, right? In America,
mhm,
you can only do that R5. Remember, only one
mhm,
home on one lot. So American government
mhm,
discourages this kind of multiple people coming and staying on one piece of lot by subdividing it,
mhm,
right? So the next best
mhm,
thing to do is to buy that big piece of land and subdivide it.
mhm,
But subdivision permits take um, maybe a year to 2 years. So at that point, you invest in the land and then you apply
mhm,
for subdivision. Then
mhm,
Vivek Prabhu's point is very valid. Each one of us can
mhm,
do whatever you want to do in your piece of land based on that subdivision.
mhm,
And in order to
mhm,
subdivide, you don't buy the crazy layout that we talked about earlier, right? Because that layout
mhm,
doesn't allow. Or even if there is a crazy layout, you leave some common land as a park, and in the remaining land, you subdivide it into 5 or 6 slots.
mhm. Yeah.
That's also possible.
Yeah, I think that, so I can clearly see that there, that we are like, it might help to save some dollars there, like if we do that. But again, the con of it is like how long it's going, as you mentioned, right? The subdivision is not a one day process. It's going to take at least 2 to 3 years. And is it guaranteed, Prabhu, that like after 2 to 3 years, the subdivision is like, is it guaranteed if you apply for it, or is like it can be denied as well?
Well, in Sammamish, everything got subdivided right in front of my eyes. I've been here 18 years.
Hmm.
I don't think anybody's got
Okay.
it. So,
Okay. So that we can assume that, okay, if we buy the piece of land and then subdivision is for sure possible. It's just that it's going to take some at least 2 to 3 years.
correct, correct, correct.
Okay. Okay.
So, right
And then
now,
it's like obviously that we need to put the dollar amount first before that. We need to buy the land first and then do the subdivision, right?
exactly.
Apply for the subdivision.
Ultimately, that's why I
Hmm.
started with this matrix. Without the dollars, how are
Got
you
it.
buy the land?
Got it. Yep. Correct.
Right? But I would say if you
Yeah.
want complete freedom, then you should buy your own pieces of land. And I can help you with identifying those pieces of land because I'm not wedded to one idea or the other, right? I want
Hmm.
devotees to come close. Maharaj wants devotees to come closer, stay within like a 10-mile radius of each other, and do this kind of community living. Community living doesn't mean that you are living in the neighbor's window. Community living also means you are accessible to each other,
Hmm. Hmm.
right?
Yeah.
So, to Vivek's point and
Yep.
your point, if you do individual properties like this, then let me know and I will write contracts for you, offers for you, and let's see if we can win. This is a hot home. You may not even win it. Like I have placed some offers in the past. I did not win those homes. They got into bidding race and all that, right? So you have to also realize
Hmm.
the economy is red hot right now. So
So I did look at the thing, Prabhuji. So let's say this is the house, right? Let's say we are considering this house. So few things here. So I have certain like things in my mind, like okay, I want for sure dairy. I don't know when, but at least in the planning, whenever if I want to buy something, cow is my first preference. Like to have the cow there, no, not more, like to at least for the self sufficiency that family needs are taken care of. So cow is something I need. So upfront, I need to look for like the shed and the pasture and then those kind of things, right? So if I see something like this, wherein let's say there are trees around the house and stuff, so how should I plan for that part? That how much more money I need to put, how many permits I need to acquire to materialize this, like to convert this into what I want to do.
excellent question. Excellent question. So first you should write down your requirements. Like you work in IT,
Hmm.
have a requirements document. So I need
Mhm.
a cow shed,
Hmm.
need a 2000 square foot home, right?
Hmm.
And then
Mhm.
at least 5 acres of land for cultivation.
Hmm.
5 acres is a
Hmm.
lot, believe me. You would be tired if you have like 2 acres, and in 2 acres you can live very happily.
Yeah, I think point 0.5, as you mentioned, right? Point 0.5, because I'm not thinking of trade at all. I'm just thinking for self-sufficiency. So for me, cultivation, I think, as you mentioned, that point 0.5 Harivilas Maharaj's cultivation area is 0.5 acres. So I think I'm good with that for cultivation, 0.5 acres.
Yeah, but your needs will increase later on. So that's why I'm saying 2 acres at least, right?
Okay.
This is,
Hmm.
you should tell me what your requirements are, and then we can go into
Mhm.
the market and seek what things are there. I put in some in the chat window, right, for our group,
Yeah.
right? So this is
Hmm.
one option, but there are other options. This option, 10 acre
Hmm.
lot, I don't know if it is sold or not, still not sold. So you are lucky if you want, but this is very expensive. It's like close to
Correct.
close to a million. Where?
Hmm.
1 hour, 15 minutes away from Seattle. Can you believe it?
Yeah. Yeah.
I mean, what has happened to the world? It is
But
crazy.
10 acres, like that's what Prabhuji is like. That for me, like as I said, like for my personal needs, 10 acres is like I don't even need that much.
No, but you have to think from their vantage point, because when
Hmm.
people were developing land, that was how the
Hmm.
land was sold, right? So you have to
Hmm.
buy it,
Hmm.
subdivide it,
Hmm.
and plan to
Hmm.
sell half of it to Vivek or somebody or some future devotee that comes down the pike.
So that should I do in my planning phase, or should I just like put my requirement, do a Redfin search with this criteria, and if something comes up, like go grab it, or if it doesn't, then it's like yeah, it's like because the thing is that subdivision thing, as you mentioned, it's gonna take 2 to 3 years, and then it's like in the meantime, I need to go follow up for the, with I don't know where I need to go, the offices, and then do that thing. So why take that botheration?
Yeah, so what you do whenever you have free time,
Hmm.
go to redfin or realtor.com, tell me the
I
type,
did probably I did this. Yeah.
and then you tell me
Uh-huh.
what you're interested in, and we will debate the pros and cons of that, right? That is one approach,
Sure, Prabhuji. Yeah.
right? And same can be done by Vivek. Like this is not bad. 650K, 1403
Mm-hmm.
square foot, and I think it is 10 acres of land for, no, not, this is only 2 acres of land. I saw this yesterday,
Mm.
right?
Mm.
So you may like this all of a
Mm-hmm.
sudden. 650 may be a little pricey. I would have paid more like
Mm.
550 or 600, but that's the reality of the market today. What can you do?
Mm. So, Prabhu, actually, when I looked at this, what I found is like, so I'm not very particular about, personally, I'm not particular about this big of a house, that many rooms and stuff. So, in fact, I was thinking that, so, so I think this is too pricey, 2.2 million. But if I go for the land, I looked at a few lands. But what I was not sure about is like, if there are densely wooded area, I saw that it takes around like anywhere 3,000 to 6,000 to clear the woods. But I'm not sure about like how do I get the permit to clear the woods? Do I need to ask anyone? I remember that in my current home, I was about to cut a tree, and then I just like somebody told me that you need to take the permit. So with that many trees, so that's what the same thing. Like if I have a piece of land, let's say, and I want to convert it into something like what I have planned for, which will involve cutting of the trees and then leveling the land if it is like hilly, and then putting the cow shed, and then home is, I'm like, this is my last thing. I am even prepared to live in a RV for a while if it needs. But I am very particular about like having a flat land and then with the pastures and the cow and all that kind of stuff. So
Right.
if you search for a land and then
Flatlands, you
Mhm.
won't get it right off the bat, right? They'll always
Mhm.
be like this
Mhm.
one has flat land here, but here
Mhm.
50% flat land, here it is totally dense tree cover. So you would never
Correct.
want to remove this dense tree cover for any reason, right? You'll just keep it as it is. You might want to clear this per acre. The rate is $6,000 to $8,000. So you have to factor that
Correct.
into your costs.
Correct.
This one is way too expensive.
Correct. And then what about the permits, Prabhuji? Like, what about the permits? Like, if we want to clear the trees, do we need to go seek permits that, hey, we want to remove those trees from the
Yeah, I talked
offices?
to one company yesterday and I left a message, and the lady was telling me that, yeah, there is a guy called Shane. He works for Tastad Construction, so he will get you permits, just like Dalali. There are Dalals in India,
Okay.
Dalals here also. So they will go to the government and get you a permit.
Okay. Okay. Okay.
Everything can be done. The first thing is vitamin M. Vitamin M is money.
Hmm.
If you have the money,
Hmm.
then you have all kinds of people who you can hire
Hmm.
to get the job done.
Hmm. Got it. Got it. Okay, Prabhuji. Then I think this, at least for me, this works out. That probably I'll keep looking for the, lands, and whenever I'm interested in something, I'll also share my plan with you, what I'm thinking about, to get your feedback.
Right.
And then, yeah, I'll tell you, like, if I come across anything before, and then I'll get your feedback, and then probably we can together do something about it.
Yeah. So that is what you should do. Also, make a plan. Vivek, are you with us?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. You had your hand raised.
Oh, really? Oh, sorry. I think it was the previous one.
Okay.
Sorry.
So what I was saying is, just like Anuj is making a plan, you should also make a plan and say, these are my bare minimum requirements, non-negotiable requirements, and then go into
Right.
a realtor and look for these various properties. And then once you find something suitable, we can discuss. And if you are really keen on it, we can make an offer, and let's see what happens. If you win the offer, then you can close within 30 days. They will give you 30 days to apply for a loan and all that nice stuff. And since you are employed at a good company, you'll get a loan, no problem at all.
Right. The only thing is, Prabhuji, the one thing that I got interested is because I don't want to buy, like, let's say 700, 800K property right now and start mortgage on it, because I have a mortgage on my current home as well. So the reason I was interested in this setting is that, hey, you get a bigger property, and then if we can subdivide it quickly, then I can work on my land. I can put a greenhouse. I can start growing stuff, and obviously participating with other devotees, and then the temple's gonna come up there, as you mentioned. The cultural activity is gonna happen. So I was just thinking, like, next 2-3 years I can keep developing my land, and the piece of land that belongs to me, where I'm also part of the community, but I own the piece of land that I have.
No,
So
that is
that's what I
possible.
was thinking.
No, that is very much possible. But like Anuj said, it will take 2 years to go through that subdivision process. Right. So,
but in the meantime, yeah, I get that. But let's say if this is a, we can find some property, let's say the front facing on the road, let's say, right? And it's a good lot that we can just divide it in half, or maybe in 4 places, right? So I was just thinking from that perspective. I know it might be just hypothetical, but that was a thing I was having in my mind.
yeah.
Right, because I don't think so that I'm gonna get a property in 200K, because that's the amount of money or I was willing to spend.
Okay, that's good. That's good to know. I know your requirements now. You need more of a cooperative living kind of activity, and 200K is your budget, which is pretty decent actually. The only thing is now you have
No,
to.
I was looking for the cooperative, but in a way, like, I own the piece of land. It's not owned by the trust.
No, that's
So
I
that,
think you can own it.
yeah,
It's just a matter of waiting for that 2 years to subdivide it. Subdivision will take time,
right,
right? Subdivision.
right.
So are you willing to wait? And are the other people, because you are not the only folks, right? Puja Mataji, one Mataji wanted to do it.
Correct.
Hari Vallabh is not on the line. He wanted to do it. So I'm just doing the coordination activity, and it's not easy. But I think
Right. and thank you for that. Yeah.
so. There will be other people who will be interested, but then is everybody willing to wait for 2 years? That's the question, right?
Yeah, I mean, waiting is basically what I had in mind, that yes, I will wait for 2 years in a way, like, the subdivision and whatnot. But at the same time, like, are they on the same page? Let's say we buy 6, 8, 10-acre land, right? So as the things that I mentioned, like, hey, there's gonna be an assessment, there's gonna be a divide on the land, and then whoever willing to pay that price based on the appraisal value of that piece of the plot, you pay, and then you start owning that. But at the same time, everybody can just start growing and start producing stuff out of the farm,
Oh yeah,
right?
nobody's
Right away.
stopping you. Nobody's stopping you from producing anything. But whatever division you do will be a soft division, right? It's not legally accepted unless the subdivision committee approves it. So you can say yes, from this point, 40 feet north, that point, 20 feet east, this is Vivek's land. Yeah, nobody's denying.
Right.
But it is not legally accepted unless the subdivision committee approves it. You see my point?
Yes.
Yeah, soft division is always possible. I mean, this is all amongst friends, right? Basically, you say, okay, from this point to this point is mine. I'll house, I'll do this, and I'm going to grow better than you guys. And then let's have that soft competition amongst the devotees too.
And then there's going to be extreme transparency, right? Like if Anuj feels, let's say, this piece of land has more value, I don't know if there is a possibility that we can do a soft appraisal based on the division that we agree, and then put a price on it. And if Anuj wants it, he can pay the price for it. If I want it, I can pay the price for it, and that becomes my soft subdivision. And then we pretty much apply the same subdivision to the final division that we are going to ask from the county or whatever the office is.
Yeah, I think that should be very much possible. Not at all, not a problem at all. Okay, so you're interested in the collaborative model. And Disha Mataji, Girish Prabhu, sorry to keep you this long, but what are your thoughts?
No, it's a very interesting discussion, Prabhu. Given the timelines, the model that I think Disha and I imagine down the road is something towards biasing towards sort of buying perhaps our own piece of land. The most important thing for us, by the way, besides cultivation, also is being close to all the other devotees, being close to the community, being close to the temple. So if there's a vision for that, temple location might be very interesting to know about. And then doing something very similar to what you have done, Prabhu, which is buy a piece of land and then build and we can do that. We're blessed with being able to afford that a little bit. And so buying a piece of land, building a kind of a shared sort of home, something of that sort would be very compelling for us down the road. I think as kids go to university and we're looking to move more into spiritual life and sustainable living.
So basically, post kids education, move to land. But are you looking for just land or land with building?
We can we can initially, if it's a 10-year horizon, you can initially go with the land, and then you can start building later on as well.
That's
a piece. Yeah. So and I just saw a piece of land actually on Redfin right next to the farm that was just recently bought, and that land is not very, it doesn't like, it's 250K. It's 5 acres.
Okay, can you send
like
me
a mile away?
Can you send me the link?
Yeah.
Maybe we can put an offer on that one, and you can pretty much lock in the land.
Yeah.
The prices go up, and then you can build maybe in 5 years, 10 years, who knows, right?
Yeah.
I'll be also interested in doing something like that as well, if that's an option, right? Like as I was saying, like I was going with the assumption that I'm not gonna be able to get 4 or 5 acre lot in 200K or something. And if there's a possibility, I think I'll be willing to do that as well.
Yeah, so keep that option open. Search on Redfin or Realtor and tell me if you find something that you like, and then we can place an offer on that one.
Where is the temple being built? Can you share a bit more about the vision, and where is the community? Where's the center of that community being built physically? Is it going to be around that farm, or is it going to be in the Arlington city? Any ideas about that?
Yeah, I sent that to Disha Mataji the other day. Let me see.
And Prabhu, would you be able to share this presentation as well with us?
Yeah, why not? I will share that, no problem. So
Thank you.
I thought yeah, this is the one. So this is the physical, I shared this link with Disha Mataji. This is the epicenter of all the activity. So if devotees buy around this would be a fantastic, epicenter.
Yeah. Okay. No, I know where that location is. And would the temple be built over there also? Would that be somewhere else?
I don't know yet, because yesterday Maharaj said we'll have a temple and a school, but I don't know whether it'll be physically on this one or on one of the neighboring lots, because there is a good bit of activity going on. Maharaj is looking at one more piece of property in that area.
I see.
So I don't know. So let me not mislead you.
Okay. Okay. Well, I think for Disha and I said myself, what would be most attractive is finding a piece of land right next to by, to where the center of activity is going to be, and then building a community over there for devotees, ourselves, farm, all of that.
Yeah, this is the center of activity for the foreseeable future.
Okay, understood. Helpful.
So yeah, I think we should just plan on this being the center of activity for the foreseeable future. You see this Tilaguamish River? So this is
Yes.
So there'll never be a shortage of water. So this is a very good place. If you find something close by here, send me the link. And if you are really convinced, we could probably put an offer. I mean, things will move very fast in this market, so you have to think through this quickly.
Agree.
Because
Agreed.
I was thinking on this for a while, and whatever I saw already got sold. So you can really dally on this market. So we have to
Agreed.
and then move quickly. And same thing, Vivek Prabhu, if you find something, let me know. And then if you find something in that 200K range, might as well just have your own place. Or still want to be a part of the bigger picture. There are other people who are not there on the call today. I will reach out to them and see what they have in mind.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah. Okay. I think we are way over time. So I look forward to your links, whatever you find, and then we can look at the pros and cons of that and maybe even place an offer.
Yeah.
Sure. Thank you, Prabhu.
Hare Krishna, Prabhu. Thank you. Very helpful.
Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna.